In the next video, I'm arranging with some gorgeous supermarket iris. So welcome back to another tutorial. My name is Sharon. If you haven't been here before, then welcome to this fantastic channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell if you want to be told every time I upload a new tutorial. There's a whole host of videos here for you to watch, lots of hints and tips and lots of different styles of arranging. Today I'm using something that we haven't used on the tutorials before, and that's a piece of bogwood. Now this is very similar to driftwood, but it's found in bog and marshed areas, and it's this really interesting gnarly bit of root or tree stump. I have several, and I bought these many years ago from a florist supplies in Birmingham. Some of them are quite straight and rigid, and what I liked about this one is that it sits quite comfortably on my container, and it's going to sit almost in the middle, and it's going to act almost like my foliage would to cover my floral foam. So instead of me having lots of busy greeneries or gypsophilia there at the base, I'm going to use that very dominant piece of wood to create a bit of interest at the bottom of my design. If you haven't got anything like this at home, then just go out for a forage, have a look around for some fallen down bark or a bit of tree branch. If you're lucky enough to be on the beach, then pick up some driftwood and you can create a really interesting design. So my flowers are a bunch of iris. It's a very simple design. I wouldn't say it's a true Ikebana, but it's styled on those very simple Japanese floral arrangements. And I'm going to start by using some of the foraged, what I think is probably goat willow, very seasonal here in the UK, and it's going to pick up really nicely on the colour in the centre of my iris. So this is a greeny sort of yellow colour, and I'm going to cut off just a few of the bottom branches, and I'm looking to create something with a bit of a curve so that I get some movement at the top of my arrangement and something that's not too rigid. I don't want very vertical lines, and I've left myself enough room at the back of the foam to get that branch in there. And because it's quite tall, you've probably noticed that I've taken that quite deep into my floral foam. Now I am using floral foam for this arrangement, and I know that there's lots of you out there who are trying to look at more sustainable options, and there's plenty of versions of flower arrangements using other styles and mechanics. I try to show videos for all the different types of flower arrangers and florists out there, and not everybody's able to get hold of a more sustainable option, and the current foams that are on the market aren't biodegradable and they still have to go into landfill. So be very careful if you're buying products, because they're sustainably sourced but they're not necessarily biodegradable. So I've created a beautiful curved shape there at the top. I've gone quite tall, so we've got a slim, elegant shaped arrangement. And then I can bring my irises down from the top to the bottom to equally distribute that blue colour. And there is a video on the channel, if you look a little bit further back, and I'll link it here in the cards, where I've used the irises with a pin holder. So that takes you right back to the very sort of first styles of floral design. Now I'm starting up quite tall with an iris that hasn't yet opened. That makes the style of the arrangement more pleasing, because the visual weight of the arrangement will be more down towards this piece of bark. Nice tall piece, and then I can work my way down, trying to use irises that open gradually as we work our way down. And it's not always possible. You know, if you're buying supermarket flowers, there's a good chance they might all be closed, or they might have already started to open. But if you have an option, stagger the heads as you work your way down. It makes the design far more pleasant to look at, and then it evolves as those flowers open. The design really changes. Okay, so we've got 3 in there so far, and if 3 irises is all you can get hold of, then that would make a really attractive design. We just need to think about covering the foam there at the back. So my next iris is hopefully a little bit more open, and this is going to come more towards the front. So at the top section, I'm quite straight, almost facing the ceiling. And then as I work more towards the front, I start to open them and bring the larger flowers through and in front of that interesting piece of bark or bogwood or whatever you could get hold of. Right, let's make our way down now with another of the irises. This time I'm going to go for something that happens to be a bit more open. And I've got this gap very well positioned in the front. So I can bring one of my irises through the middle. And then the piece of bogwood becomes an integral part of the arrangement, not something that looks like it's been added on as an afterthought. So it all blends in quite nicely. If you're anything like me and you've been flower arranging or working as a florist for many years, then you might have lots of pieces of driftwood or bark that you've collected along the way. And it's just about trying to be creative with those pieces and working out how you can use them in your design. Right, so now I've got that lovely staggered line down the front there of the blue iris. Quite simple, but very attractive. If we look at it from the side, we've got profile, so I don't have a design that's really flat. And all I need to think about now is how I'm going to cover that small bit of foam there at the back. And for that, I'm just going to use some simple sphagnum moss. And because the foam is lower than my container, I can quite easily just sit that moss there on top. If my foam was higher than the container, then I would probably have to use some pins and some wires to secure that. But that sits really nicely there. It's covered my foam really effectively. And to bring that texture a little bit through towards the front, I'm also going to place it in this section at the front here where I had a gap. And to make it look like I've almost picked this from the woodland, I'm going to place a small amount of that green, lovely textured moss there on the front to bring that colour through from one side to the other. If you've got a glue gun, you could quite easily hold that into place with some glue gun. But I'm hoping for those of you who'd like to experiment with some simple flower arrangements, this is a good one for you to start with. A really good one for beginners. If you haven't got the bogwood there, just replace it with some greenery. I hope you've enjoyed that one. I've got a very fond memory of irises because they were the first flower that I was allowed to arrange with when I trained as a florist. Thank you as ever for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in another tutorial. So goodbye for now.